Welcome to the 5-Pack, where we talk about the 5 things that matter, 5 things that will matter, and a daily pack rip. Here is your host, Kyle Elfrink.
Welcome in to the 5-Pack. Good to be with you here on the Better Sports Network. Kyle Elfrink hanging out with you yet again. It is the 1-hour stop where we take care of you. If you watched sports last night, we'll tell you what you should care about. If you didn't watch sports last night, don't worry. We'll get you caught up on what you should care about today. Also, we'll take a preview of tonight's sporting action, and the ever-popular Pack Rip will come your way at the end of the show. Yesterday, we had a fresh new pack. What was that? 1991 Fleer Baseball. We actually got some notable names from 1991 in that set. Today, we have a brand new notable pack. Topps Stadium Club. What do we have earlier this week? Fleer Ultra. Now we have Topps Stadium Club. Both these sets, Ultra and Stadium Club, were the answer, if you will, to Upper Deck Baseball in the early 90s. So we'll hit up the 1992 Topps Stadium Club set. For a long, long time, this particular set, which was 3 series big, you know, you'll get a first and a second series. What is this? This is series 1, by the way. But this set was 3 series big, and this set numbered 900 baseball cards. 900, and that was the biggest set I think that Topps had ever made, and in effect anybody had ever made, for about 10 or 15 years. And I think right around the turn of the century, Topps put out an all-encompassing set that was actually bigger than 900 cards, but 900 cards in this sucker. Needless to say, we're going to have a lot of work ahead of us if we're going to hunt down this set. Only 15 cards come in this pack, but we will get to it a bit later in the show. It is the lunch hour for many of you. I make note of that because as we sit here at 12 o'clock Eastern, if you are headed out for lunch, let me recommend that eat whatever the hell you want for lunch. Why should you? Because today, literally today, is National Eat What You Want Day. So don't listen to your wife or your significant other. Don't listen to your cardiologist, your doctor, whomever. Let go, man. Let be. Today is the day. Go out and enjoy that large pizza that you can demolish in 40 minutes' time, all by yourself. Go out and do it. Go out and get the double quarter pounder with cheese and extra large fries with a full calorie Coca-Cola. Go out and do that today. The day is begging you to do it. National Eat What You Want Day. I'll probably have a salad because I kind of want a salad, honestly. Okay, let's get into the good stuff for today. The 5 things that do indeed matter. What should we be thinking about? What should we be caring about on this Thursday? Well, let's start with the New York Knicks, right? I feel like the Knicks have just kind of been forgotten in this NBA playoff run. They won their first series, but here in the second series, it's kind of been taken over by Jimmy Butler of the Miami Heat, and everybody's kind of written the epitaph of the New York Knicks. Well, not so fast. The Knicks showed up with a victory last night, and most notably, they showed up with Jalen Brunson playing every single minute of game number 5 and kind of dominating every single minute of game number 5.
Some space. Always at his pace. Yep. Brunson hit. Nope. Tracked down by Robinson. Cutter. Brunson gets the layup. Randall puts it on the deck. Euros and kicks. Extra. Brunson connects. Leaves it for Randall. The drive and kick. Grimes. Extra. Brunson got him. 74-62. 8-1 run. Brunson drives in and puts it in.
Spaced up in the corner to contest that shot.
Brunson, the zigzag for Jalen Brunson.
In case the shot came out.
Foul on Duncan Robinson. Oh! Jalen Brunson got a 3.
As soon as you get in the help mode, Robinson is going to be lurking somewhere behind the three-point line.
Brunson, pull up. Gets the roll.
Jalen Brunson, 38 points. Knicks win rather easily. It was still a game in the fourth quarter, but they pulled away late. They win at 112-103. TNT providing the footage there. Kind of fun to watch. Inside, outside, mid-range jumpers, layups, jacking it up from three. Jalen Brunson looking good. Now, 48 minutes in that game last night. He was not the only Knick, by the way, to play every single minute. Quentin Grimes also played from minute 1 to minute 48. So both those guys playing the entire game, which might be what Tom Thibodeau, the head coach of the Knicks, is going to have to employ for game number 6. Now, everybody still kind of feels that Miami is the favorite here. Perhaps the Knicks just delayed the inevitable. But if you get more of that from Brunson, who also had 9 rebounds and 7 assists, if you get more of that from, say, Julius Randle and RJ Barrett, who combined for 50 points in that game, maybe, oh maybe, you got a chance in game number 6. It's going to be Friday night. You can catch it on ESPN 7:30. Miami already is favored by 5.5 in that game. By the way, another stat that stood out for Brunson last night, played the entire game, 48 minutes, only had 1 turnover in that game. I saw a note on Twitter that Jalen Brunson is the first NBA player to play every minute of a playoff game and have 1 or 0 turnovers since way back in 2008. Who was that in 2008? That would have been Ray Allen, who was the last man to do it. So all around great effort for Jalen Brunson. Knicks played pretty well. At least the home fans can walk out of MSG last night and kind of have a good taste in their mouth. You know, they don't walk away saying, oh my God, what another season that ended up circling the drain. We thought we could do it. Oh, no, we can't. At least they leave with a pretty good taste in their mouth. We'll see if the Heat finish things off in game 6. If they don't, we'll be back at Madison Square Garden coming up early next week. Now, speaking of not leaving a bad taste in the fan base's mouth, let's move to our second sports item that matters today. It takes us to the world of the NHL. They, of course, also are in the midst of round 2 of their playoffs, and we were thinking that maybe we could get a clincher tomorrow. Last night down in Florida, the Panthers were up 3-0 on the Toronto Maple Leafs. We talked about it on yesterday's 5-pack, and we said, hey, Leafs, hey, studs, why don't you try scoring some goals? Because none of those offensive studs have been able to score in the first 3 games of this series. Well, in game 4 last night down in Florida, a couple of those goal-scoring studs finally got out of the 0 when it came to the goals scored column.
Now Marner's got some room. Works over the line for punting. Second unit starts to climb it first. Scores! William Nylander has the goal that opens the scoring in game 4.
While you're looking for a break, you got it there. That puck hits off John McKeisel, can go right to the front of the net.
Lindgren advances. Back in for Marner. Centers in front. But O'Reilly couldn't handle the hot pass. That's Bobrovsky's stick. And Forsling able to hand it back to the goaltender. Scores! Marner the shot! And it deflects in, and the Leafs lead back.
First goal of the series for William Nylander. First goal of the series for Mitch Marner. And what do you know? The Leafs, they show a little backbone, show a little heart. They get a 2-1 win on the road in Florida. Obviously, I think coming out of that game, the national storyline is, okay, these guys who weren't scoring, they finally showed up, got a big win. Series is going back to Toronto. Do not forget the rookie goalkeeper, Joseph Woll, filling in for the injured Ilya Samsonov. Joseph Woll stopping 24 of 25 shots in that big win. We'll see what the status of Samsonov is. Game number 5 is coming up Friday. Again, they're back in Toronto, 7 o'clock Eastern. You can catch that game on TNT. Maple Leafs, by the way, are a money line favorite coming up in that game. They're a big money line favorite. In fact, minus 180 to win game 5. So the Vegas expectation is that this series is going back to Florida. The series odds, though, are still tilting very heavily towards the Florida Panthers. Remember, they're still up 3-1. Odds right now, I have Florida at minus 425 to win this series, and the Leafs are at plus 320. So a travel day today, and again, back in Canada for Game 5 tomorrow. Let's go to the world of baseball for our third thing that matters today. We have spent previous weeks here on the 5-Pack talking about the surprise that is the Pittsburgh Pirates. Well, I come to you today with the other side of the coin. Eventually, the Pittsburgh Pirates go back to doing what the Pittsburgh Pirates know and love. Yesterday, taking on the Colorado Rockies, trying to avoid another loss. They've lost a lot of games. In fact, going into yesterday against the Rockies, they had lost 8 of 9 games. Here is how yesterday's game ended in Pittsburgh.
To their final out against Pierce Johnson, Ji-Hwan Bae. And he lines it toward the gap in left center field. That gets down. Castro going to be held by Robello. It's a double for Bae with 2 outs.
Man, I thought that
had to be a tough call for Robello.
Yeah.
Really tough call. What would you have done if you're the third base coach? I mean, all those things the third base coach has to think about really ahead of time.
Well, right about now, the throw is coming in as he's coming to third. So if it had been a good relay throw to the plate, I don't see how he could score.
So Palacios just got called up yesterday.
Tying run at third, winning run at second, 2 outs in the 9th. 3 and 2 on Palacios. He's got him, and the Rockies win it 4-3.
AT&T Sportsnet providing the footage there. Pirates lose again, so it's now 9 losses in their last 10. They just finished off a homestand. They're going 1-5. They will be on the road this weekend. They're off today, but they will be on the road this weekend in Baltimore. Now, the good news for the Pirates is somehow, some way, they are still in first place. So here we are on May the 11th, and I think everybody's kind of shocked. The first place Pittsburgh Pirates. So, hey, congrats to them. They're half game up on Milwaukee. I'll say this, 2 things. Watching that highlight, because everybody loves it to second guess this. I watched that highlight on the double, and you see the runner, in effect, wanting to come home on that double to the left field gap. He got the stop sign from the third base coach. I watched that replay a couple of times. I'm not going to call out the third base coach there. I think he made the correct decision. Obviously, the game didn't end up the way they wanted. I am usually a strong proponent of sending the guy. I am a strong proponent of forcing the defense to make a play. Yes, I get it's the big leagues, but when you force these guys to make plays, they're not perfect. They can make mistakes. And so you look at that play there, you're forcing, if you send the guy home, you're forcing the shortstop to make a pretty good throw, but he doesn't have to make a great throw. Because if you play that out and watch the replay again, you'll see that maybe the runner would be, 5 to 10 feet past third base by the time the shortstop collected that relay throw. A decent throw, and the guy's out by a fairly significant margin. So I'm not going to complain about the third base coach there because he was pushing it if he sends him there. I will complain about the Pittsburgh Pirates offense. Now, they get 3 runs yesterday. They still lose 4-3. Check this out. That is the first game since April 29th that the Pirates offense scored more than 2 runs. That's like a run of 11 games or so. So this offense has gone silent. I was kind of more concerned about the pitching with the Pirates, but now we've got the offense that has quieted down. And, Jake Sawinski was a guy that a lot of people were, oh my God, he's got an OPS over 1,000. Well, that's now under 1,000. McCutcheon's still doing fine. Brian Reynolds has cooled off just a bit. And all those other guys aren't doing quite what we're seeing in the month of April. So things have indeed slow down for the Pirates. We'll see if they can get the offense back up and rolling. I mentioned that they are still at first place in the NL Central. Their odds to make the playoffs right now are plus 450. Their odds to win the NL Central, the Pirates, who are currently in first place, plus 750. They are the 4th pick, according to the odds makers, to win the NL Central. Milwaukee's ahead of them. The Cardinals are ahead of them. Chicago is ahead of them. Nobody else who's sitting in first place right now is near a plus 750. So no one's buying what the Pirates are selling. We'll see if they can get back on their winning side of things, taking on the Baltimore Orioles. Orioles playing good baseball right now. Pirates and Orioles, that series will begin tomorrow. Now, I mentioned the Orioles playing some good baseball. They were up against the Tampa Bay Rays the last couple of days, got a win yesterday. That Tampa team is still looking good. Let's not worry too much about the Tampa Bay Rays. But as we move to our fourth item that matters today, we do take you to a bit of an issue for the Tampa Bay Rays. Now, let it be known that through the first 6 weeks of the season, Tampa Bay has been the best team in baseball without the services of Tyler Glasnow. Tyler Glasnow, by most everybody, is considered the ace of the Rays staff. Tyler Glasnow is one of the best pitchers in the American League when he's healthy. He has been out all season with an oblique injury on his left side. Last night, pitching for the Durham Bulls, the AAA affiliate of the Tampa Bay Rays, Tyler Glasnow in his second rehab start left after just 11 pitches. They had penciled him in for 60 in his rehab start. The hope was that maybe last night was going to be the final rehab start that Tyler Glasnow would need. And then 5-6 days from now, he's back. He's in your rotation. You bring in this Cy Young level kind of pitcher. Well, stop the presses because Tyler Glasnow, as noted, left after 11 pitches. And guess what the injury was? Left side tightness is what we're hearing. Pretty well an injury, if you want to call it that, in the same spot he's been rehabbing for 6 or 7 weeks. Now, they are not saying it was a painful thing with Glasnow. They are just saying, oh, he didn't feel right. Like I said, they termed it tightness. I'm just going to say, when it's the same area that you tried to have been working on for 5, 6, 7 weeks, I'm raising my concerns. I'm not listening to the team on this one. Besides that, an oblique injury, we say this all the time, kind of like a hamstring. It can feel great. You feel good. You've taken 4 weeks off. You've done a bit of training. Oh, it feels fine. You don't know until you try to push, until you try to do it again. It's kind of like recovering from Tommy John and trusting that right arm again or trusting that tendon again. The oblique is very susceptible to being re-injured. And I think what we saw last night with Glasnow is probably a re-injury. And even if it's not an injury, if you're the Tampa Bay Rays, are you pushing this guy? I don't think you are. Your major league team is doing good. Best team in baseball, best record in baseball. You don't want to push him back in May. You want to make sure you have Glasnow in July, in August, September, certainly in October. If I'm the Rays, I'm slowing them down. So all those who might have been waiting on Tyler Glasnow, I'm speaking to you fantasy players, we may have to halt this thing for at least a couple of more weeks. And I started to look this up with Glasnow. I find this amazing. I'm going to ask an out loud question. Even though you're probably sitting by yourself, you can answer this out loud if you want to risk embarrassment. Give me a guess. How old do you think Tyler Glasnow is? How old do you think Glasnow is? I'll give you a second or two. Glasnow is going to turn 30 in August. My bet is many of you missed that. Maybe you got it. If so, congratulations. There is no prize. But Glasnow is going to be 30 in August. I bring this up because this is mind-blowing to me. And this speaks to pitching. This speaks to Glasnow. It speaks to everything. Tyler Glasnow has thrown 606 innings in the minor leagues in his career. 9 seasons. 9 different seasons. This guy has pitched in the minor leagues. He's over 600 innings. In the major leagues, he has thrown in parts of 7 seasons. Now, if he pitches this year, he'll make it 8. But in those 7 seasons, 406 innings. Can we all, let's listen to this. Just listen to my voice. We have a pitcher who will be 30 in 3 months, who has thrown 606 innings in the minors and 406 innings in the majors. That's not the way it's supposed to work. That's dangerous, my man. That's kind of awful. Speaks to where we're at in 2023, this ace level pitcher is nearing 30 and has 50% more innings in the minor leagues than he does in the majors. Crazy. And it speaks to the injury issues that Glasnow has been battling. We'll see. Again, the Rays say it was a tightening, didn't feel right, not really a re-injury. But the fact remains, it's in the same area that he's been rehabbing. Tyler Glasnow has a history of this stuff. I don't think we're seeing Tyler Glasnow at a major league stadium anytime in the month of May. Let's move to our fifth item. Fifth item comes to us from Jacksonville. Have we even mentioned Jacksonville in the month plus that we've been doing the 5-pack? I don't think so. But we're going to break that lull. We're going to break that drought right now here on the 5-pack. Jacksonville Jaguars. Probably one of the, I don't know, is this fair? Are they the most unstable franchise in the NFL? Not like an Oakland A's or a Tampa Bay Rays, but we got 32 teams in the NFL. All of them pretty well sell out. All of them have good situations. Hell, it's the NFL. They're all doing fine. Nobody is trying to build a new stadium or else we're leaving town. Jacksonville's probably that team. Jacksonville has been playing games in London. Jacksonville has been struggling to sell out home games. Now, it's getting exciting. Trevor Lawrence and ETN, they had the playoff run last season. So there's a little bit of momentum. Right now in Jacksonville, they are talking about doing a very thorough and very in-depth renovation of their current stadium. And everybody agrees that it needs it. But yesterday, over on 1010 XL Radio out of Jacksonville, they're the Jaguars local affiliate. They're the big sports radio behemoth there in Jacksonville. They had the mayor come on the show. What's his name? Lenny Curry, which is a funny name for a mayor. Lenny Curry sounds like a mayor of Springfield on The Simpsons. Taking over for Mayor Quimby. Lenny Curry is good. He's the mayor of Jacksonville. He joined the sports radio network yesterday, 1010 XL, out of Jacksonville. We're going to pull a little audio from that interview. Here is the mayor talking about this renovation and the fact that this thing's going to take 2 years, probably 2025 and 2026. During those 2 years of renovations, they don't think the Jaguars are going to be able to play home games. So the question becomes, okay, where are you going to play? Jacksonville isn't a behemoth of a city like a Chicago or like a Los Angeles or, like a Houston or hell, even a Minneapolis. Jacksonville is not to that level. Fine city, but it's not a place that has stadiums and colleges and big time 20,000 seat arena just floating. They don't have that. So the mayor was asked, okay, well, where are the Jaguars going to play while you do this 2-year renovation? And here's what he said on XL Radio.
2-year period, the goal is to find if they can, to find a place to play the ball games in Jacksonville.
Yeah, it's kind of running through my head right now, just trying to imagine. We're talking with Mayor Lenny Curry on 1010 XL about the possibility of, moving forward seriously with stadium plans. UNF is the only place that I could think of that would even come close, Mayor. Or is there another place that I'm not thinking of? I'm
not good at. You guys have been doing this a long time, so you guys know what you're talking about. I'll leave it at that and say I'm not going to get over my skis on this.
Yeah, and I totally get it. But I do think, and we've talked about this, and maybe you can just kind of give us enlighten us a little bit. Have there been other cities that are nearby that have said, you know what, we will step up and we will host those games? Because I would be a little worried if Orlando wanted to step in and host those games.
I have. If any of those conversations have happened, I have not been privy to them, and I've been in almost all of these conversations. So I don't think so at this point.
Okay, why does this matter? Because I'm sure you're sitting there and you're saying to yourself, okay, who cares, Kyle? This happens in every city, every sport. They build new stadiums, they refurbish new stadiums, yada yada yada. As you heard there's not a lot of options, not obvious options in Jacksonville. There's like a local college that has like an 8,000 seat stadium. They're not playing there. I bring all this up because this screams London. Screams London. The NFL would love to spend 2025 and 2026 experimenting with the idea. Maybe it's not Jacksonville, but with the idea of a future team taking up residence in London. And as we all know, Jacksonville, every year, they make the jaunt across the pond, and they play at least a couple of games. This year, they're going to play 2 games in London. They welcome that. They usually give up at least 1 home game to play over in London. They're kind of the de facto home team of the London NFL faithful there. Yes, there is a London NFL faithful. 2025, 2026. Okay, 2-3 years down the road. I'm not saying Jacksonville plays every game in London, but I'm saying the NFL has the opportunity here to play 5-6 Jaguar games in London. It's a lot easier than taking them to some other spot or trying to play in Gainesville, Florida, on the campus of the University of Florida, or Tallahassee, all this stuff of shifting. They're trying to play college football games down there. Are they really going to have a college game on Saturday, a pro game on Sunday? Nobody really wants to be on that football field after it's been chewed up all day Saturday. Then you're going to throw the guys making money onto that same field on Sunday. Nobody wants to do that. They may have to, but nobody wants to. This actually makes sense for the NFL to get in on this. And I guarantee, even though the mayor says, those conversations haven't happened, and I've been pretty well privy to all the you haven't been privy to Roger Goodell's conversations. You're the mayor of Jacksonville. Not yet. We'll get you involved later. I would guarantee the NFL is watching this and seeing this as, okay, now we can do a test run. Not that we're going to put Jacksonville in London. They're going to play all their home games, and eventually they leave Jacksonville. Hell no. They're redoing the stadium. As long as that stadium is being renovated, refurbished, all that, the Jags are staying in Jacksonville. But the NFL gets the opportunity in 2025, 2026 to see how it might work. Can we schedule games in London? And before you say, hell no, all the travel and the time zones, all you have to do is every time a team plays in London, the next week they get a bye week. It takes a little bit of a scheduling gymnastics, but it's doable. It's not all that brutal. If you get teams when they visit London, they get the following week off. If you make sure their game before they go to London is playing in the Eastern time zone, is playing in New York, is playing in Miami, is playing in Philadelphia, it's doable. And so maybe the NFL's never had this opportunity because it hasn't made sense. You'd have to take a team from a city that's paying for that stadium, you'd have to take them and move them to London to run your experiment. You can't do that. But now you can. Now you got the opening in 2025, 2026. So I'm telling you, more games for the Jaguars in London. It's going to happen in those 2 years. And then they'll be back in Jacksonville come 2027. But the NFL will have seen, okay, how's this working? Is there a fan base that can sustain not just 1 or 2 games, not just random matchups, but is there a fan base in jolly old England that can actually sustain an NFL team for 6, 7, 8 home games? Is it doable? The experiment will be run. They've been setting the groundwork for that, and now it's perfect. 2 years where the Jaguars can't play in Jacksonville. It's obvious. Take them to London. They've already built a fan base. Can you imagine how hard it is to build a fan base of English people to the Jacksonville Jaguars? My God, just wait till they see real football. Then they're really going to get excited. Those are the 5 things that matter today. Break for me, break for you, break for us when we come back. 5 things that will matter for your Thursday. We'll run through those coming up next on the Better Sports Network.
As we are set for Game 6 tomorrow night in Los Angeles between the Warriors and the Los Angeles Lakers, a lot of questions around today about the health status of Anthony Davis. Obviously got elbowed in the head. Reports by Chris Haynes that he had to be wheelchaired off and all of these things. And hopefully Anthony Davis did not suffer a concussion, because if he did and he is unavailable tomorrow night for the Los Angeles Lakers, then I have every confidence in the world that this series is going to get back to Golden State for a pivotal or decisive Game 7 in one of the Western Conference semifinals. Even though Golden State's not as good as defensively as they once were, and maybe they don't hit as their outside shots as consistently as they once did, and Jordan Poole has absolutely disappeared in this series. The Lakers have been the better team so far in this series, but Anthony Davis, as Keith and I have talked about on Moose and Keith on the Better Sports Network, Anthony Davis has been the most important player in this series because he's an impossible guard if you're the Golden State Warriors. And if he's not available, then that does even the playing field here moving forward. So his health status, a big-time key. If you're a Laker believer, you best believe that he has to be available. You win this in 6. If you're the Golden State Warriors, well, you're going to bank on that championship pedigree, think they can win a Game 6 on the road and get it back for a home Game 7 and hopefully advance to the Western Conference Finals. For more content like this, check out the comments below for a special offer from our friends at Fantasy Alarm.
Welcome back to the 5-Pack. Next up, the 5 things that will matter. Here's Kyle Elfrink.
Want to remind you that right now you can get all-pro access to everything they do at Fantasy Alarm, all the features, all the fantasy breakdowns, best ball stuff, DFS for, gosh, what are they up to? About 10 different sports. They break it all down. It's all available at Fantasy Alarm. Right now, you can get 50% off your first 6 months at Fantasy Alarm. Just make sure you use the promo code ALARM50. They also have a free trial, so you can check things out before you sign up for the 6 months. But again, ALARM50 when you sign up for everything, the all-access pass at Fantasy Alarm. You can take advantage of it with that promo code. That's 5050, by the way, not spelled out. ALARM50 for that. Kyle Elfrink back with you. It is the 5-Pack coming up in just a bit. 1992 Top Stadium Club. We'll celebrate a little old-time baseball. It's weird calling it old-time baseball, but it is. It's over 30 years ago. So we'll do a little bit of that coming up. But right now, it is the 5 things that will matter. And I got to admit, I don't believe we've ever done this in 5-Pack history, but the first 2 items are actually 2 for 1 because they kind of deal with the same story. It's a big story. I don't really know why. 10 years ago, it wasn't. 5 years ago, now it's a really big story. In fact, it's a made-for-TV event. Coming up later tonight, 8 o'clock Eastern, the NFL will unveil their 2023 NFL schedule. It is time for you to plan your fall. This is a very important day if you're a season ticket holder, if you're a diehard fan. A lot of people don't actually plan anything in the fall until they know which weeks do I have a home game, where's my team going to be, then they can plan the rest of their fall. But tonight, the NFL will release their schedule. Now, we touched on this a bit yesterday about some of the matchups. You know, the international games have kind of leaked. The NFL came out and said that the Chiefs and the Bengals are going to play on New Year's Eve. I'll give you a guess here, just some guesses. First off, the first game of the year, as is tradition, it's a Thursday night, usually that Thursday right after Labor Day. And as is tradition, the NFL always starts it at the home of the defending champ. Well, as we know, the defending champ, Kansas City Chiefs, so they're going to be home. We are hearing reports, even though we're, 8 hours away. We are hearing reports that the opening matchup for the entire season, week 1 of the year, Thursday night, Chiefs hosting Lions. That's what we're hearing at Arrowhead. I get it. It's fine. I was talking to Heather Klein, our producer, about this earlier. I get it that the Lions are kind of an up and coming, but what's interesting about this is for a lot of fans, general fans, not the diehards, not you, not me, not the fantasy player, but for a lot of people, it's like, Detroit? Really? The Lions? Huh? They've got such an ugly history that it's not bad for the first game of the year, but I fear it reminds me, what was it, 3 years ago when Houston went to Arrowhead on that Thursday night and it screamed blowout going into that game, and it absolutely was a blowout. Now, you can't predict how games are going to play out when you're putting the schedule together, but I just wonder if that's the right choice, Lions, Chiefs. I mean, it's entertaining that the Lions can move the football, but it's still Jared Goff, you know? It's still a brand new backfield for Detroit. But, hey, give them a little pub. Give them a little PR. Everybody's in on the Lions, right? So that's what we're thinking for Thursday night. I'm going to make a couple of guesses. Sunday night football, the first Sunday night game, which is always usually a big storyline game. I am going to go with, who's going to be in that game, or at least I know. I feel I know. It's just a matter of what's the matchup. But you got to think, don't you, that with the amount of money NBC pays for Sunday Night Football, and that's now considered the marquee game. It's not Monday Night Football. It's Sunday Night Football. Aaron Rodgers, right? Aaron Rodgers, his debut with the Jets. That's got to be the game. It's just a matter of what the matchup is. I'm going to make a prediction. This guy will be on the road in week 1. They won't show his debut in New York. They'll make it a Sunday night game, the Jets taking on the Broncos. And here's the storyline. This year's big QB move against last year's big QB move. Aaron Rodgers against Russell Wilson. And remember, Sean Payton is now the coach of Denver. That plays. That's my prediction. Jets on the road at Denver for Sunday Night Football. Monday Night Football in week 1. I've got a prediction there. Remember the doubleheader? They always give us that. I'm going to go with Pittsburgh at Cincinnati. You know what the storyline is there? We don't need a story. We'll just go Pittsburgh, Cincinnati. We'll go with that one. And Chicago and the Chargers. Because you got to have a West Coast game for that second one. So that's what I'm going to go with for the doubleheader. ESPN runs that, right? So I'm gonna make that prediction, which who the hell knows on that one? That could be anything. And then, hey, Thanksgiving. I got predictions for Thanksgiving. We know games are going to be in Detroit and Dallas. I'm not going to cheat and say, oh, Detroit's going to host again. No, that's a given. I'm going to say it'll be Minnesota and Detroit for Thanksgiving morning, and Seattle and Dallas for Thanksgiving afternoon. And I'll even give you the triple header, the third game. Let's go with the Rams at the Arizona Cardinals. So write all that down. What do we got? Detroit at Kansas City. Sunday night would be the Jets at the Broncos. Monday night would be a double dip. Steelers at Bengals. And then we'd have the Chargers hosting the Bears. That'll be your double dip. Thanksgiving, Minnesota at Detroit, Seattle at Dallas, Rams at Arizona. That's what I'm going to go with. Now we've got more scheduled, more anticipated matchups. Let's go to item number 2, things that will matter. Anticipated matchups. This year, now remember, we know what games are going to be played. We just don't know which week. But I know everybody is wanting to see where these games fall. Number 1, Super Bowl rematch. Philadelphia is set to be back in Kansas City. We don't know when, but we do know the where. The Eagles are going to be up against the Chiefs. You have Jalen Hurts going up against Patrick Mahomes. So many people will be waiting to see that one. Another matchup that I think is going to have a lot of eyeballs on it is going to be the dual threat duel. That's my name, by the way, the dual threat duel. Indianapolis has a trip to Baltimore. I hope the NFL schedule makers push this matchup until like at least week 5 or something so that we get to see Anthony Richardson. We can be guaranteed that Anthony Richardson probably by the 5th or 6th week is under center for the Colts, because I'd like to see this one. Richardson on the road facing Lamar Jackson and the Ravens. So that'd be a fun one. The Giants are scheduled to go to Buffalo this year. That would be Brian Dable going up against his former pupil, Josh Allen. So that'll be a fun one to watch. Here's one that's kind of interesting. I want to see where this game falls when the NFL schedule releases. The NFL releases their schedule tonight. How about the one guy, really, legitimately, the one guy that has slowed down Russell Wilson in his career? Who get to face Russell Wilson again? Yes, it's Russell Wilson and the Broncos going to Miami to face the Dolphins. Guess who the Dolphins' D coordinator is? Vic Fangio, the former coach of the Broncos. Yes. Nathaniel Hackett, too. This will be fun. We'll see. Vic Fangio got kind of ran out of town in Denver. They wanted to go with Nathaniel Hackett. Didn't work so well. Of course, Russell Wilson didn't have much fun with Nathaniel Hackett either. Didn't work well for him. So a couple of guys who've been wronged by Nathaniel Hackett, maybe even by the Broncos. See where that one lands. A couple of other matchups that you may want to pay attention to. Jets are set to be on the road at Dallas. That will no doubt be a late Sunday afternoon game on Fox. How about Josh McDaniels going back to New England? Oh, yeah. McDaniels against Belichick. That's supposed to happen this year. And then also pay attention to this one. This is another one that should be scheduled later in the year. You don't want to schedule this game in like week 2 or week 3. Give it like week 12 for Houston and Carolina. to where we will get Bryce Young against CJ Stroud. We'll get pick number 1 against pick number 2. By the time we get to week 10, week 11, hopefully those guys are starting, right? So the NFL better put that one late in the season, Houston against Carolina. Again, every single team, every single week, all the national TV games, Thanksgiving, all that stuff, set to be released tonight at 8 o'clock Eastern. Let's go to our third thing that will matter. You just heard Mark talking about it in the break. It's the status of one Anthony Davis. To repeat what Mark was talking about earlier, Anthony Davis leaving in the fourth quarter of last night's road loss to Golden State. Lakers lost by 15 to Golden State Warriors. And Anthony Davis left after the game when he took an elbow to the head from Kevon Looney. And to listen to reports immediately after the game, it sure as hell sounded like a concussion. Now, what we are hearing at this very moment is that the Lakers believe that AD avoided the concussion. But according to reports, he needed a wheelchair to get to the exam room. He was kind of staggered walking off the bench on his way to the locker room. It didn't sound good for Anthony Davis, but then late last night, the Lakers came out and said, initial reports say he's fine. I bring this up because if we hear today that he's in any kind of protocol, you pretty well aren't going to have Anthony Davis for Game 6. You're just not. And Game 6 is scheduled for tomorrow. It's in Los Angeles. Lakers have a 3-2 lead on the Golden State Warriors. Mentioned that Golden State got a big win last night. They took care of business, win by 15. For that Game 6, which is tomorrow night, it is a 10 o'clock tip-off on ESPN. Right now, the Lakers are favored by a bucket. So this series has been fairly good. I don't think, Game 1 was the best of the first 5 games. The other 4 games have kind of been so-so. We'll see if we can get a classic Game 6 and maybe Game 7. We're at least leading into the late stages of a 7-game series. Lakers are still pretty big, heavy favorites on the money line to take the series. They're minus 235. Golden State is plus 195. But again, the key today is where do we stand with Anthony Davis? Are we talking concussion? Are we talking protocol? Because if we're doing protocol, I don't think Game 6 is happening for Anthony Davis. And then you have to wonder about Game 7, too. That would be, I believe, on Sunday back in Golden State. Warriors would be in front of their home fans. Maybe no Anthony Davis. So a lot riding on that one. Our fourth item that matters today, we're staying in the NBA. Tonight, it will be Game 6. Boston is on the road in Philadelphia. We talked a lot about Game 5 yesterday. The Celtics, in effect, laid an absolute egg in front of the home fans in Game 5. Everybody's been complaining about the energy. There just didn't seem to be any awareness of the situation. The Celtics have had a lot of that over the last 2 or 3 playoff years where they've been in front of the home fans. They just haven't brought it. They now trail this series against Philadelphia 3-2. They are facing elimination tonight. Game 6 is tonight, 7:30 on ESPN. Jason Tatum has been receiving a lot of criticism, and he was asked following Game 5, how do you reboot and make sure that Game 6 is different against Philadelphia?
Go out there and compete. It's just not put too much pressure on ourselves, right? Go out there and follow the game plan, try to relax. I think we were a little tight today. So go out there and relax. Obviously play hard and things like that, compete on both ends and play the right way. It's no secret answer.
Watching that press conference, I'm like, I am so glad I don't have to do that anymore. Press conferences. Jock talk. It's painful. Did he say anything there? I don't think he did. I will tell you, the Celtic fans may not believe in Tatum or Boston. Vegas does. Vegas believes in the Celtics. They may be the only one who believes in the Celtics. Right now, Boston is a 2.5-point favorite in this game. Last night, they were 1.5. There is a ton of money coming in on the Boston Celtics tonight. Now, again, you ask anybody who watched Game 5, they're like, hell no. No way am I taking Boston. Wise guys are favored by 2.5 tonight. Philly has not made an Eastern Conference final since 2001. That's all the way back in the Allen Iverson glory days. So they're trying to get back, 22 years for the first time in the Eastern Conference Finals. I will say, key tonight, as you watch this game, it's that energy I speak of. With Boston, it's pace. They got to race up and down the court. They got to move it. Philly has done a wonderful job, especially in Game 5, of just slowing it and working it through the post and working it to Embiid and eating up the shot clock and taking shots with like under 6, 5, 4 seconds on the clock. Boston, you can't really control what Philadelphia is going to do with the shot clock. You can control what you're going to do. And if you're more apt to push the pace and race up the court, that's better for the Celtics. That's what they need to do. They didn't do any of that in Game 5. So that's going to be the key tonight. Again, 7:30 this evening. And yes, Boston is a slight favorite, 2.5 points. That's pretty big considering how this series has gone and the fact that they are on the road tonight against Philadelphia. Fifth and final thing that you need to care about for tonight, that will matter for tonight, it is Tampa, New York, Part 2. Last weekend, Yankees went down to Tampa, an early AL East showdown. This weekend, beginning tonight, the Tampa Bay Rays return the favor to the New York Yankees. It's the first of 4 in the Bronx. They will play tonight. What do we got on the pitching pairing? It is going to be Drew Rasmussen against Domingo Germán. 7:05 for the first pitch. Aaron Judge was not in that series last week in Tampa. Of course, he came back against Oakland. What do you know? The Yankees picked up a sweep against the Oakland A's, and Judge talked about the chance to maybe make good on the 4 home games against the Rays this weekend.
You know, we could have easily been swept that series. You know, we easily could have swept them. You know, it was just kind of a back and forth series. You know, they take the lead, you know, we come back, and they take it back again. You know, we tie it up. It was just kind of a back and forth series where both teams were really, you know, grinding at bats. You know, guys were getting dirty, guys were making plays. You know, pitchers stepped up when they needed to. It was a fun series. You know, it's a series you want to play in. So, you know, we're definitely looking forward to the 4 games we got at home with those guys, man. It's gonna be fun.
Yes Network providing the thoughts there of one Aaron Judge. I mentioned the start time tonight. It's 7:05. Tomorrow it is 7:05 as well. Garrett Cole's going to be on the hill. Saturday afternoon, 1:05. Shane McClanahan looking to go to 8-0 on Saturday afternoon against the Yankees. And then I got to say, I have an issue on Sunday. Got a big issue. Right now, Yankees and Rays at 1:35. Now, far be it from me to say we need the Yankees on for Sunday Night Baseball. But come on. Why is that game not on for Sunday Night Baseball? You know what you get on Sunday night instead of Rays-Yankees? Cardinals-Red Sox. No. And I get it. You schedule things out. You want to maintain. No. You're baseball. Trying to grow the sport. This is like a burgeoning rival. It's a big story. It's the Tampa Bay Rays. They're in New York. You get the Yankees. You get Judge. You get Wander Franco. Move the game. Believe me, Cardinals and Red Sox don't care. They would much rather prefer playing on Sunday afternoon. Fans would much prefer they play on Sunday afternoon. Why is baseball not adjusting this game? Make it Rays-Yankees. And again, I know we see too much Yankees in prime time, but that's the fact of the matter. That's who brings in the numbers. And now you've got this opportunity. These 2 teams don't play again until like September. It's a long wait, I think. So show them. Put them on Sunday Night Baseball, not at 1:35 on a Sunday afternoon. Come on, baseball. Anyway, tonight you can catch them in prime time. 7:05. Game 1 of 4 between the Rays and the Yankees. Right now, New York is 8 games back. Remember, they were 10 back. What was it? Coming out of Sunday's game? So they're only 8 games back. Tampa still has the division winning odds in their favor. They're minus 160. New York is plus 475. That's to win the division in the AL East. By the way, Baltimore, who's only 4.5 games out, right now, the current odds, plus 1,200 to win the AL East. It's a long shot, but not a bad one with the way the Orioles are playing. Have fun tonight, Rays and Yankees. Break for us. Final one of the day. Pack Rip is next on the Better Sports Network.
NFL schedule releases here, and boy, do we have in the opening Thursday night. The Kansas City Chiefs open up as 7-point home favorites versus the Detroit Lions. And I know you're thinking to yourself, the who? That's right. The Detroit Lions are playing in the first premier game of the NFL season. Now, you must be thinking to yourself, oh my goodness, the NFL is buying the Detroit Lion hype. Slow down. The Detroit Lions had a top 5 offense last year. The Kansas City Chiefs had the best offense in the NFL. So the NFL is clearly telling you in their premier game that they are putting offense front and center. Fantasy football fireworks from the jump in the NFL season. Patrick Mahomes, Isaiah Pacheco, Kadarius Toney, Sky Moore, Jared Goff, Jahmyr Gibbs makes his fantasy debut in the first game of the NFL season. So shout out to the NFL for acknowledging the importance of points being scored and the importance of fantasy football. Curious about your comments? Leave them in the comment section below. And while you're down there, check out a special offer from our friends at Fantasy Alarm.
Time now for the Daily Pack Rip on the 5-Pack with Kyle Elfrink.
So Corey's a little more amped for that Lions-Chiefs game than I am. He's expecting offense. I will say this, Detroit last season, they were great offensively at home in the Dome. When you put them on the road, like they're likely to be in week 1, not so much. Look at the home score. These are the point totals at home. 35, 36, 45, 27, 25, 40, 34, and 41. Here are the point totals on the road. 24, 0, 6, 31, 20, 23, and 20. Not to say they can't score on the road, but last year they didn't score on the road. They were a home product, those Detroit Lions. Okay, let's get to our pack rip. Reminder, today is the last day. Retweet our pack rip via Twitter at Better Network. Give it a retweet, and you are qualified to win this Michael Jordan 1992 Upper Deck All-Star Checklist card. It's actually worth something. We pulled this a few weeks back. We'll give it away tomorrow. So retweet, we'll randomly choose somebody, and you will get a free 1992 Upper Deck card. Okay, speaking of 92, Topps Stadium Club. This is year number 2, by the way, of Topps Stadium Club. As noted, 900 cards in this pack. There really is not much worth anything. As usual, Ken Griffey Jr., yeah, that's worth something. I saw an interesting bit of trivia. Card number 1 in this set was Cal Ripken Jr. On the back of the card, they misspelled Ripken. Going to be a long year for making baseball cards if with your first card, you misspell the name of like one of the best players in baseball. Cal Ripken. I think it was Ripkin. Of course, as we all know, it's Ken. Okay, it's year number 2 of Stadium Club. These are borderless cards. No border here. No yellow monster to scare you off. Pretty sharp cards. Really good photography. I mean, back for 1992, they were still pushing this Kodak thing. See that at the bottom? So you got pretty good photography. Let's get into it. We will start with Dave Valley, catcher for the Mariners. I will say it's very clean, the image here, but could we get the position a guy plays? Like, I know Dave Valley's a catcher. Hell, I know that 31 years later. But a lot of people don't. Like, you should have the position of the guy. And yes, you've got it on the back. These are awesome backs, by the way. We've opened some other cards of Stadium Club, and I pointed this out for those cards, but I love the fact that they put the Topps rookie card of the player. So that's 87, one of my favorite sets of all time, that 87 wood-paneled Topps set. There's Dave Valley's rookie card. Here he is, getting ready to do his best to jack one over the left field wall. That is a guy swinging for the wall there. So Dave Valley leads us off. One of my all-time favorites. Oh, man, he is a current coach for the St. Louis Cardinals. Legendary St. Louis Cardinal. Here he is with the Giants. Willie McGee. Can't get enough of Willie. Willie could never keep his hat on, and there you see it flying off as well. Here's his rookie card. That was a highly sought-after rookie card. What year was that? 83 Topps for Willie McGee at Shea Stadium, racing back to first base. That's a classic. Like as a kid, you got that card, you were rolling. Willie McGee with the Giants. I like that. Here's another Giant, another guy who I think is still coaching somewhere. He was a longtime pitching coach. I think he might still be with the Giants. Dave Righetti, who, interesting photo here. He appears to be throwing to home plate, but he's looking towards the third base dugout for whatever reason. But Dave Righetti, one of the best closers of the 80s. Milt Kyler of the Detroit Tigers. Milt Kyler, really just a random dude. Look at this on the back. Milt Kyler is card number 5, but you'll notice there in the middle, insufficient major league data available for an accurate analysis of batting strengths and weaknesses. Thanks for spelling it out, Top Stadium. Today we call that small sample size. Back in 1992, it was insufficient major league data available for an accurate analysis of batting strengths and weaknesses. Nowadays, it's small sample size. Calvin Jones, trying to look like Lee Smith there. I kind of thought it was at first Lee Smith when I saw that pitching motion. Just a random relief pitcher. Here's another random relief pitcher. When you make 900 cards in a set, literally 900 cards in your set, even Jeff Gray gets a card. You can also check out Jeff Gray's rookie card. You're number 40 there. Up next, man, this set is not coming off very well. Tim Spear. Tim Spear was such a backup catcher that even for this photo, they could only get him catching in the bullpen. That kind of career for Tim Spear. Here's an action shot of Luis Rivera. Look at that. We get the horizontal photograph of Luis Rivera. Sliding home safe at Fenway Park. Up next is Brian McRae, son of Hal McRae. Brian McRae did a lot of radio and TV work after he retired. Was a good player, but always kind of left something to be desired. Started with the Royals, played with the Cubs. Pretty good player, though. Love this guy. Love the name. Mike Lavalier. Mike Lavalier. Didn't have a whole lot of French-sounding names in baseball back in the 80s and 90s. Mike Lavalier was one of those guys. Kind of a chubby Mike Lavalier. Looking like a catcher, right? Here's Bob Scanlon. Pitcher for the Cubs. Yeah, still for the Cubs. John Orton. Hey, coach, can I go on the field? Come on, coach, put me in. Sorry, John. Jack McDowell, Blackjack. He was a good pitcher at this point. Let's see. Coming off a year in which he went 17-10 with a 3.41 ERA. Blackjack eventually, I think he won the Cy Young in 92 or 93, thereabouts. We've got Craig Worthington. Can you guess what team Craig Worthington is on? He's on Baltimore. And then finally, since we're running out of time, we've got one more player. Lance Parrish. Lance Parrish, usually when you say that name, you think Detroit. But here's Lance Parrish strapping on the catching gear with the Angels. And check out his rookie card. He got the 4-pack back in 1978. Who else is on that card? Looks like Dale Murphy, Bo Diaz, Lance Parrish, and then I think Ernie Witt. You know, all 4 of those guys I remember from 1978. Obviously, that Murphy rookie is kind of what's trending there. But Lance Parrish, Dale Murphy, Bo Diaz, and Ernie Witt. 4 catchers. Murphy was a catcher back in the day before becoming an outfielder. So there you are, 92 Stadium Club. Not a whole lot to write home about, but the photos are nice. You know, the borderless look, it's kind of nice. We got a Willie McGee, if nothing else. So there you go. We've got more Stadium Club to go. We'll get to those in future editions of the 5-pack. I want to thank Heather Klein. We'll be back tomorrow, 12 o'clock Eastern, to remind you what you may have missed and what you need to worry about on the 5-pack.